AJ had the time with Derek James this time round.
So you're telling me that was the best you could have picked?
Do you think if this fight had happened before Spence's car crash, this would have been a different story?
That was everything that was beautiful and great about boxing.
I have heard a rumor. Again.
Oh, okay. Yeah, let's go. As long as we get that Wilder fight in December or January, I don't mind this fight.
He's paying for VADA testing. Like it's not cheap money.
Dillian Whyte has always been saying AJ's on the juice.
Whatever happens, someone's dropped the ball somewhere.
That last press conference, I think that kind of said it all. Tyson,
What happened with Tyson Fury? You can't say it's a serious fight.
No, Baz, it's not a good card.
What do you mean it's not a good card?
Nah, it's not a good card.
It's like the nasal sprays. Billy just got popped for that, didn't he?
What don't they understand? I told them Usyk didn't want to fight.
But if you call a locksmith out in the middle of the night, the last resort, he's gonna sting you.
Welcome to another episode of Bloodlust Boxing. I'm Sav.
I'm Baz.
And I'm pleased to be joined by fast becoming a regular on the show, Eric. Welcome, Eric.
Let's go, champs. Let's go.
Let's go, son.
In this episode today, we're going to be talking about Dillian Whyte and that failed or adverse findings. Was the juice worth the squeeze? And AJ's replacement. What do you think about it? Let's get our guys' thoughts. But before we get into it, massive shout out again to all the new subscribers. It's been going up and up and up. And obviously, a big shout out to our existing subscribers who've been there from the beginning. It's great to see you all. If you haven't already, hit that like button and subscribe. But yeah, let's get into it. Who wants to get into it first?
All right, let's go. All right.
And if you like the merch that I got a little
the merch as well.
I'm just rocking the t-shirt.
Buying 2 of those, buying 3 of those.
There's a link coming soon. Yeah. But anyway, let's go.
Well done, lads.
It's now been confirmed that HELENIUS is the replacement for AJ. But what are your thoughts on everything that's happened in between and up to this point?
Trash, man. Everything's trash. You just ruined my Saturday. You ruined my Saturday evening. Well done, guys. Well done for ruining my Saturday. I thought, yes.
I think I text you at the same time as well. Right?
Oh, my days, man. Honestly, it's poor. It's poor conduct. It's almost, I feel like, heavyweight boxing, put in some Rizla and just give it a smoke, man. It's done. It's done. It's done.
Down the pan, yeah?
It's down the pan. Like, no one wants to fight no one. It's like, so you're telling me that was the best you could have picked?
HELENIUS. Oh, in terms of opponent.
No,
okay,
in terms of opponent, right? You know.
All right, let's take it from the top. So Dillian Whyte popped for something. We don't know what. It still could be disproven for whatever.
Potentially twice. But
apparently, I have heard a rumor. Again. Speculation.
Yeah, let's go.
Apparently, he picked up an injury in training.
Oh, really?
So he was on meds, and that's what. I don't know. Again, it's rumors. Just I
won't ask you who your sources are. That's feasible. That is feasible.
It could. I mean, for me, I thought it could be true, but it could not be true. But then you think to yourself, the last time he had an injury, right? But he never said nothing, and so and he lost. So it might have been, I can't use this excuse to get an injury and I lose again. It's like boxers don't go out like that.
But what kind of injury? What an injection for?
I don't know the specifics.
For something?
I don't know the
help him get through the training, but
maybe so. But to add to that as well, like I knew a slightly off top. I knew a rugby player that was doing like semi-pro rugby, and he was telling me he gets tested like every time, like before a game and stuff. Right? He said how things like Lemsip Max, he can't take because there's something in there that
it's like the nasal sprays. Billy just got popped for that, didn't he? And
it triggers off. Right?
He was meant to fight. Was it Andrade? And then that fight got called off. But apparently, under the VADA, was it VADA rules or the state they were in, they wouldn't allow it. But under the UK, they would have allowed it. But so that fight got called off. So
he's paying for VADA testing. Like it's not cheap money. Do you think he'd be paying it and popping?
Yeah, and that's the thing. I'm not a doctor, but I don't know. Especially when Dillian Whyte has always been saying AJ's on the juice. AJ, he's always like that's been like his claim, right? He's always with his juicing. So it will be hypocrisy at its highest tier. Then turn around and say, "Wait, guys, I'm on the juice," And I think apparently another room, but again, just bear in mind his rumor. He was the one pushing for test.
Dillian Whyte was.
That's the talk of it. Like he was pushing like, nah, everyone gets tested, like. But
what And initially, I mean, it didn't look like the fight was going to happen. And then Dillian Whyte went on this promotional drive to try and bait AJ and the team into it, and they got the fight done. But maybe there was a case of he didn't think it was going to get done. And I mean, I don't want to be saying maybe something was there.
This is what the comment section have been alluding to, is that he was on his cycle in it, and he thought he was past it, allegedly. Yeah.
And then
he just didn't time it right.
It was due to timings, but I mean, we can only speculate. Whatever happens, someone's dropped the ball somewhere. So
someone. Okay, let me ask you guys.
And it's not the first time, because he was due to fight Rivas. He fought Rivas, and they were able to keep things hush hush, and that fight went through. He got the all clear eventually, but we still don't know the full findings of what happened there.
Yeah, it was exactly.
Well, they said it was down to contamination, but that's as far as it went.
Let me ask you guys a question, right? Did you see the last press conference that they had?
Yeah,
it was flat.
So the point I'm making here is, like, did they know?
You think he knew? You think he knew before that?
Maybe.
I mean, that's what David Hay's saying.
Well, that's what David Hay was saying. Yeah,
that was no, but even before David Hay was saying, I was like, these two are supposed to be like. Even Joshua said, "Oh, we're not rivals." It's almost like usually these two have been talking back and forth for quite a while, whether it's subliminally or in their face. There's always been some sort of like tension, a little bit, something like quite niggling, you know. That last press conference, I think that kind of said it all.
Yeah.
Joshua wasn't really on it. Dillian Whyte had glasses on and the hat on. I was like, yeah, it's like let's just do this for formalities. Let's just get this done, and then he's gonna come out anyway. But we're scheduled to do this press conference. Let's just do it. Like they just weren't on it. They just weren't on it from that point onwards anyway.
Well, even on the highlights, the gloves are off, filmed with Addy. That didn't get released.
Where's that?
Like,
exactly?
The whole episode didn't get released, which is strange, because you think they would have dropped that a bit earlier.
So
you think they would have been dropped? Yeah.
Behind closed doors.
And there's rumors that was flat as well. Like there wasn't that much action in that as well, apparently.
Well, that part we'll never know. Like I only saw that little clip when Joshua has a promo video that he's got out. I watched that. That's the only bit I saw. I was, oh, so they've got a gloves around. But then it never surfaced. So that would have been enough time to pull promotion. I believe so. But I also in saying that, something behind it. I think again, speculation. This is just my opinion. I do feel like this was probably found out maybe like a week or two ago. But we've got things in place. We paid for venues and so forth. So let's just go away with the formalities and leak, and then not a leak, but then announce it later on.
I mean, just to play devil's advocate, eddiehearn has come out today, and he did say he found out. I think it was on the Friday evening,
Saturday morning,
Saturday early in the morning, like 1 o'clock in the morning. He said he got, and he didn't want to tell AJ until he wanted him to sleep, and then he wanted to speak to him. Simon Jordan was on the rampage today.
Mate, what was going on today? What? I swear to God, my phone was just pinging off with all these notifications from TalkSport.
Yeah, but it's I think it should come down to just frustration. Everyone's frustrated.
Even Frank Butcher was trying to get on there, and
Frank Butcher, friend or
no, Frank Butcher, mate. He's like the geezer from EastEnders. Peggy, Peggy.
Yeah, Tyson, it's probably a cracking fight.
What don't they understand? I told him Usyk didn't want to fight.
If the bar hits you, mate, you're going down. You're going down. No, but listen, it's just upsetting me. And I think it's leaving a bad taste in my mouth. Just for being a boxing fan. Like,
well,
fights, you wait months, sometimes half a year for a decent fight to be scheduled. And
it's true. There was talk to this fight for a long time, and then in the end it was like, oh, it's not that long of a turnaround time. And then everyone started to get the buzz. I did. There's been a few haters who didn't want the fight and said it was a rubbish fight. But I think that local rivalry, got everyone excited, and we were.
And it's a good card. It's a good card.
And we're 1 week away.
No, Baz, it's not a good card.
What do you mean it's not a good card?
Nah, it's not a good card. Look,
come on, bruv. You got Hergovic versus Dempsey McKean. That's a good fight. That's a solid fight.
I think that's a solid fight.
Johnny
Fisher, Harry Armstrong. Yeah, Johnny Fisher's on the way out.
Title fight, yeah, and you got Chisora fighting
Gerald Washington.
Yeah,
and then you got Campbell Hatton as well fighting on that card.
Come on, Campbell, come on.
Yeah, but he's up and coming. He's a name. He's a name, isn't he? He's a name.
I know which part. You're using your father's name.
I think when you looked at the card as a whole from the beginning, you were thinking, actually, that's not a bad card. There'll be some knockouts
don't get me wrong.
there. The package as a
it's
whole,
weaker now. It's weaker now.
it's in the O2. It's going to be rocking, but then obviously with the main card falling away, the main fight and now we've got HELENIUS. So of all the options, what you're not happy with it, are you, Eric?
Nah, no, not at all. I think personally, AJ's replacement, I think it doesn't do it for me.
Last minute though, brother, what would you do? Who would you get?
Well, Andy Ruiz. Well, we know how that went down last minute.
Yeah, but not just that. I think they're saying he would want too much money anyway.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, anyone would have wanted too much money. Like if you imagine, right? Yeah,
last minute high risk.
Like last minute high risk. You want the card to go on, and you want me. I'm going to sting you. I'm going to sting you. It's like supply and demand. It's like, I'm going to sting you. Like it's you really want this? Like repairs done. Like you're gonna get stung. Like, if you call a locksmith out in the middle of the night, it's last resort. He's gonna sting you. He's gonna sting you. All right. So me personally, right? What I would have done, I would have just shuffled the card completely.
Go on.
Oh yeah, I know a bit later, but as soon as I found out, if the rumors were true and this was like a week or two ago,
so how would you play it then?
Joshua, Washington.
There was strong links with that.
That would have been my thought behind that. I would have promoted that in a way of Washington was a guy that kind of gave Wilder a lot of run for his money, wobbled him a little bit, right? That would have been like,
he's actually knocked out HELENIUS as well.
That would have been great promo for the Wilder fight, and kind of get him, in with a bit more confident. I think that would have made him a bit more confident. Anthony Joshua, right? Chisora, crazy fight, or I would have gone Joshua Chisora. I know they're friends, but
that's where I don't agree with that.
No one expected. That's the fact that no one expected that fight.
Like,
no one.
I put a comment out on the Seconds Out saying we don't want that fight, and got a lot of likes, I have to say. There were a few who were saying they wanted Chisora to step up and they were backing him and they would have liked to have seen that fight. But
does he deserve that shot anymore? Like,
you don't want to be paying.
I'll be frank.
After
does he deserve that?
What happened with Tyson Fury? You can't say it's a serious fight. There's only two things that are going to happen if that fight was to be made with Chisora. You're either going to have AJ really hurting Chisora. If he takes it seriously, and they both take it seriously, he's going to hurt Chisora, and there could be lasting damage there. It's not good already for Chisora. He's taken a lot of beatings, and he's been in a lot of grueling fights. Or it would have gone completely the other way, and it would have been a glorified sparring session. And who wants to watch that? But then you can't put it on pay-per-view, and you can't sell it.
No, you can't.
Like you got people flying from the US, you got people coming up from up north of the UK coming to watch this fight. They pay for hotels. That you don't want to see an exhibition fight. You want to see.
Here's the thing.
Is HELENIUS the answer? I don't know. I think
there's so many different variables in this situation. I mean, the bottom line here, it's a mess. It's one big hot mess for one, right? Yeah. Now it's weird, and knowing Eddie Hearn, like we know Eddie Hearn, he's very protective of Joshua. He doesn't want to get him to too many dangerous fights. Like it's almost like I want him to win, but look good at winning, but not look like it was a walkover. So I feel like, to be fair, Chisora would have been a dangerous fight. I think it would have been a dangerous fight mentally. And what I mean by that is, you got to bear in mind, Chisora, Joshua went to the gym with Chisora a few times back in the day, but Chisora's always been that. Yeah. Chisora's always been that.
It's a bit like a father figure.
Exactly, the older role model, right? We'll say like in that age, we'll say like elders, one of the elders in the area, right? So you always looked up to him. Chisora is not going to sit there mentally and think to himself, no matter how good this guy is, I can't get beat by this little boy. It's true.
And knowing Chisora anyway, he's always going to swing. He's always going to throw them haymakers.
He's going to swing.
And if you get caught by one of them, like
there you go. And we've also seen AJ get rocked. So
then there's a duty of care to protect the fighter as well from themselves, and
that's what Eddie Hearn does. And
I think, and they can't. The amount of stick that I guess Eddie Hearn and everyone else gave for that Chisora fight versus Tyson Fury, can't then just shove him on a card with Joshua to fight each other. Then it doesn't play up. But I mean, we've got HELENIUS. honest, I think actually that in some ways that would have been the perfect fight from the start. That should have been the fight maybe before the Franklin fight. He fits that mold where Joshua does really well against someone who's really tall, slow, a bit slow.
He hasn't really got much lateral movement.
He is strong, HELENIUS. He's got a bit of power, but as soon as you put a bit of pressure on him, he backs up, and I think that would have been a perfect
his chin up in the air as well.
That would have been a perfect confidence builder for Joshua before he fought Franklin. So like that would have been the Franklin fight, and then you have the next fight up, because I think Joshua, as long as he doesn't come off too tentative, he's gonna if he puts the pressure on early on, he'll finish this fight easy.
To be fair,
and that's what he needs.
To do a spectacular, he needs to put on a spectacular show.
And that, I mean, we look at Wilder. He had that fight, and his confidence has gone skyrocketing again. So I think that's a perfect thing. As long as we get that Wilder fight in December or January, I don't mind this fight. But as you said, he needs to look good. He can't look flat.
He needs to look spectacular. He needs a spectacular finish on Saturday. You're up against it, and let's be honest, the cat's out of the bag. You're fighting Wilder.
HELENIUS does look in shape. I'm not saying he's going to do anything.
He just fought last week.
He fought last week.
He hasn't
got. There's not a lot of fat on him or anything like that.
He just fought on Saturday. He better be in shape.
He didn't take any damage at all. But as soon as a little bit of pressure went on him in that last fight last week against I think it was a 6-0 novice, then he backed up straight away. And I think that's what AJ needs to do in this fight. Just back him up straight away. Don't give him time to settle.
Yeah. And move around. He's got to move around. Otherwise, he's got that Nordic power in it. It could be a Nordic nightmare.
He's from Sweden, isn't he? There was the Bakoli fight, which I initially thought
it's slim pickings. It's really slim pickings, isn't
it? Wallin threw his name in the hat as well, though.
Yeah, but he's a southpaw. This is southpaw.
This is the
same with Dempsey McKean. They're both southpaws. He's been training for an orthodox fighter. I think the Bakoli fight, I didn't want to see that. But as a last-minute replacement, I think that would have been good. But then you've got the problems in the networks. He's with Sky and Boxer. It's too much red tape to get it done in the amount of time.
And that's what's killing boxing right now. The network, people are afraid of losing their O's. People are demanding too much money for what, And I really do feel like the heavyweight boxing division is in a bit of disarray at the moment.
Yeah.
We're not really like, we know the common four that we want to see fight, but they're just not fighting.
Yeah.
I mean, going back to the fight the other weekend, and we haven't really revisited it yet. Errol Spence versus Crawford. I mean,
Masterclass.
I did say, Crawford. I had that epiphany last minute.
I said Crawford.
And but that was everything that was beautiful and great about boxing. You had two fighters willing to put it all on the line, top of their game. There was respect there, a little bit of animosity to sell the fight. It was a great fight and
brilliant fight.
Yeah, hands down.
And the thing is, that's how boxing should be. Eventually, the best should square up within a decent amount of time whilst they're in their prime.
Yeah.
Don't wait 15 years to go fight when you're cashing your pension. I think, and if you got to give credit to Spence and Crawford because they wanted to put on the fight a very long time. They both wanted it.
Definitely.
They both wanted it.
And there was no excuses at all from Errol Spence after that fight.
None. No. And there was, and to be fair, for both of them, it was going to be a dangerous fight for both of them.
Of course.
A dangerous fight. And so it's like it's a lot on the line here. But I think when you got two warriors and two gladiators, let's give the people what they want.
Yeah.
And they did that. They put on a great show, great first round by Spence, I'll say. But I'll also say that it just shows levels though, man, for Crawford. Crawford just shows he knows when he's in that gear.
I told you he's a counter puncher.
Yeah,
I did say that.
As well.
And I'm just gonna give it props as well. Baz did change he didn't do it online, but he told me before the fight that he was going Crawford. So I just put it out there, but I went Crawford from the off. So
I'll ask you two. Do you think if this fight had happened before Spence's car crash, this would have been a different story? No.
I think it would have been harder. But the styles are different.
It's
the wrong style for each other.
It's the levels, man. And that just showed I'm not taking nothing away from Spence. He's a fantastic fighter. He's a brilliant fighter. But when you put him against greatness, it just shows levels though, man.
Yeah, and it was a walkover, wasn't it, really?
Yeah.
It was a shutout.
It was, and you got to bear in mind, yeah, these two were like probably the best in the division, or like.
Do you think the weight was an issue?
Possibly,
because he looked tight. I mean, he looked big, like, but then was he struggling to make the weight?
I don't know if it would make much difference.
Yeah, no, nor do I. I think, and I'll say it again. It's almost like Joshua and Usyk. The outcome's still going to be the same. No,
it's just the styles. Yeah.
Someone just got your number. They just got your number, regardless. Like,
it's true.
Yeah, like, and it doesn't mean that Crawford won't get beat by someone that Spencer's beat. It's just that particular style, as you said.
Yeah,
he just got your number. It's like Fury and Wilder. He just got your number. It's just like, no, what happens is I just know how to beat you.
But just to bring it back to the AJ fight, and something I was thinking about, you've got Derek James who trains Errol Spence. You're Joshua, you've just seen the golden child of boxing, or one of the golden childs of boxing, get defeated. You've teamed up with this trainer because he's got trains winners, and it's about a couple of weeks before he's due to fight what would have been Dillian Whyte at the time. And does that thinking, I was thinking at the time, and we were saying as well, how much time did Derek James have with Errol Spence? And is that affected the camp? And is that going to affect the Joshua camp? Now, I don't think it's going to play a part in this fight with HELENIUS.
No.
But I think if it was Dillian Whyte in there, a type of fight, then there could have been potential issues there where has AJ had the time with Derek James this time round? And the doubt in his head, would that have been creeping in? We know AJ likes to overthink things. Would he even thinking, actually, have I made the right decision? Or
I think, I mean, I don't think there'll be that much of a difference, because I know that the way Joshua talks about
Derek James,
Derek James.
It's a lot of
praise. It's a lot of praise, a lot of respect. And I feel like from what I get from AJ is probably the best trainer he's had. He feels that way. But then you got to bear in mind the trainers that people train with, right? The ones that get the greatest results, they've been with him for time.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
And they just get the results from they get the other people jumping on band or like on board, like, I want to train with so and so because of what he's done with so and so, right?
They're gonna get some of that limelight.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But
it's a bit like
Chris
Eubank Jr. now. Chris Eubank Jr. has just teamed up with Bomac.
Yeah.
Crawford's trainer. Is that going to make a difference there?
That's
not doing nothing. You think so? I don't think that's going to do nothing. You know why? Because you don't take on nothing on board. You don't take nothing on board.
Okay, so that's my thing. That was my thing. It should make a difference. It should make a difference. But I feel like Eubank, he's too much of an independent thinker. Like it should, like I said, it should make a difference. Like you might pick up a few new styles, but he's the type of person who's like, I just want to fight. Corner man telling him jab, move, like stay light on your feet. He's not listening to nothing. He's just going out thinking, I'm gonna like he's hot. Some people can't get trained. They can't get taught.
Yeah.
But I've seen little improvements. Well, I've seen improvements with Chris Eubank Jr. with his defensive. I mean,
he's always an offense. He's always been a good offensive fighter.
When he was Roy Jones Jr., I've seen some improvements in his technical style, but I think the problem is he was caught between styles, and as you said, he's an offensive, aggressive fighter, but the weight is a massive issue for me on that one. And he's got that fight with Liam Smith, and I've seen the videos, some of the training videos, and again he just looks gaunt. So it doesn't matter what trainer you're going to get.
He needs to go up. He needs to go up in weight.
He needs to step up in weight, because he could get Bomac in there. He could get anyone in there. But I think he's just struggling at the weight, and you're not going to see the best of Chris Eubank Jr. there.
And he's got too much ego anyway. He's got too much ego.
I don't know. He's looking I can't see him. I can't see him looking.
I just don't see it, man. I just don't see it.
But let's bring it back to this fight. Conscious of time. We've got AJ fighting this weekend. Hopefully nothing else crops up.
Third round knockout.
What happens, Eric?
Third round knockout.
Third round.
Third round. Maybe fourth. I think he can probably do it. Win fourth round knockout. He can probably do it in the third, but I reckon he needs to give people,
their money's worth.
Yeah, their money's worth. Entertain a little bit. Show the fans what he's done in training. But it's going to be a total domination.
Okay, Baz, let's go.
You know what? I actually think AJ is going to take this slower. Judging by how he's fought lately, he starts off slow now, and I think I think he's gonna get a knockout in the eighth to 10th round.
Wow,
I think
that late.
Yeah, I think so. Because like you said, I think he's gonna want to give the fans a little bit of what they want, and at the same time, he just wants to show people what he's made of, doesn't he? So I think he's gonna start off slow, and then he'll go into it later on. So I'm going 8 to 10 round Joshua knockout. So what are you saying?
I'm going for a Joshua knockout. He needs to start punching through the opponent. He stopped doing that. When he was on the front foot punching through the opponents, he's been holding back like against Franklin. And Franklin, I think everything we've seen from Franklin, we can see he's a great fighter now. And he's going to be someone which he's going to be around for a while. That was a tough test. And he got a better Franklin than Dillian Whyte got, I think. But he needs to start punching through the opponent and going back to the old aggressive style as well. I think it'll be round five knockout. AJ's still going to be holding back a little bit. I think I'm with you there, Baz. Like, there's still that thing there. Hopefully it's been trained out of him, and he's just going to go.
I hope I'm wrong. I hope he knocks him out earlier on. Like, nothing against HELENIUS, but
you can't go back now. You can't go back. You were now, bro.
No. I still think 8 to 10, but I'm saying if he does it sooner, then it makes him look better. So
final question for me. Out of 10, how do you rate this card out of 10?
Oh, that's a deep question.
As it is at the moment, I give it a 6, but
I'm gonna have to say about 6 and all.
6.5.
I'll go 7 because of the rest of the undercard.
And a good thing as well, I just want to give props as well. Eddiehearn could have pulled the fight. AJ could have said he doesn't want to fight this fight, because of him, everyone on the undercard is going to get paid now. They could have just completely pulled it, which probably would have been the smart move to do. But anyway,
I think
if you haven't already, hit that like button and subscribe. Massive thank you, Terry, again for coming back on.
Thank you guys for the invite.
Yeah.